Welcome to a brand new journey. For a long time, we have talked about grammar, pronunciation, and how to speak. But today, we are going to talk about WHY. You must speak English. English is not just a language, it is the most powerful financial tool in the world. If you speak only your native language, you are limited to your local economy. But the moment you become fluent in English, the entire world becomes your marketplace. From New York to London, from Dubai to Singapore, English is the currency of success. If you want a millionaire mindset, you must first build a fluent mindset. Think about the biggest companies in the world: Google, Amazon, Tesla. Their language is English. Think about the world's most successful entrepreneurs and motivators. They share their ideas in English. When you learn this language, you aren't just learning words. You are gaining access to the greatest secrets of wealth and motivation ever written. Most of the world's best selling books on success and finance are written in English. By waiting for a translation, you are already years behind the rest of the world. Why wait for someone else to tell you the secret when you can read it, hear it, and understand it yourself? Many people ask me, "Michael, can I be successful without English?" Of course you can. But with English, your success can be 10 times bigger and 100 times faster. English allows you to work for international clients, attend global conferences, and build a network of high-value people. In the 21st century, being illiterate doesn't mean you can't read or write. It means you can't communicate with the world. Your income is directly connected to the number of people you can help. If you speak English, you can help billions of people instead of just millions. In this new series, we are not just going to learn English. We are going to use English to build a stronger, richer, and more motivated version of you. We will discuss leadership, financial habits, and the psychology of winning, all while improving your fluency. This is where your education meets your ambition. This is where your voice becomes your greatest asset. Are you ready to stop being a student and start being a global leader? The journey starts today, and the rewards are unlimited. As we finish this first segment, I want you to change the way you look at your practice. Don't look at it as a chore or a study session. Look at it as an investment in your future bank account. Every new word you master is a new dollar you can earn. In our next segment, Segment 2, we will talk about the language of leaders. Specific phrases and words used by the world's most successful people. I'm Michael Carter. Change your language, change your life, and I will see you in the next one. In our last segment, we discussed how English is the ultimate key to global wealth. Today, we're going to look at how the world's most successful people actually talk. There is a specific way that CEOs, visionaries, and world leaders use English. They don't just speak to be heard, they speak to inspire action. They use what I call the language of leaders. Leaders don't use weak, uncertain words. They use high-value, high-impact vocabulary that shows confidence and clarity. If you want to be treated like a leader, you must sound like one. Think about the words you use every day. A regular person says, "I'll try to do it." But a leader says, "I will execute this plan." A regular person says, "There is a problem." A leader says, "We have a challenge that we are going to overcome." Do you hear the difference? The meaning is similar, but the energy is completely different. Words like execution, vision, strategy, and leverage are not just fancy terms, they are tools. When you use these words correctly, you tell the world that you are a person of authority and competence. Another secret of leadership English is brevity. The ability to be concise. Leaders don't talk for hours without a point. They get straight to the bottom line. They value time, both theirs and yours. To speak like a leader, you must practice saying more with fewer words. Instead of saying, "I think maybe we can do this in the future," say, "Our long-term objective is this." This precision in your English makes you sound sophisticated and decisive. It shows that you have a strategic mindset. And people are naturally drawn to follow someone who knows exactly where they are going. But leadership language isn't just about business terms, it's about empathy and connection. Great leaders use inclusive words like we, use, and our team. They don't just say, "I did this." They say, "We achieved this." This builds loyalty and trust. To be a global leader, you must be able to articulate a vision that others want to join. Your English is the bridge between your dream and the people who will help you build it. When you master the vocabulary of leadership, you aren't just improving your fluency, you are expanding your influence. As we end this segment, I want you to start replacing one weak word with a leader word today. Instead of saying, "I'm busy," say, "I am prioritizing my tasks." Feel the power shift in your mind. In our next segment, segment 3, we will talk about the billionaire's morning routine and the English vocabulary related to productivity and time management. I'm Michael Carter. Speak with power, lead with vision, and I will see you in the next one. In our last segment, we learned how to use the language of leaders to increase our influence. Today, we are going to talk about how the world's wealthiest people use their mornings to dominate their day. You may have heard of the 5 a.m. Club. Billionaires like Jeff Bezos or Tim Cook don't just wake up and start working. They have a routine. In English, a routine is a sequence of actions followed regularly. To be successful, you must learn to optimize your time. Today, we will learn the English vocabulary of productivity while discovering the habits that lead to greatness. The first word you must master is prioritization. Most people wake up and immediately check their phones. They are reactive. But a billionaire is proactive. They start their day with what we call deep work. This is a state of intense focus where you work on your most difficult task without any distractions. Instead of saying, "I have a lot to do," a productive person says, "I am focusing on my high leverage activities." These are the tasks that give you the biggest results. By using these words, You train your brain to value your time and energy. Another essential habit is self-reflection. Many successful people spend the first 30 minutes of their day journaling or meditating. In English, when we say someone is mindful, it means they are fully aware of their thoughts and goals. They don't just wish for success, they visualize it. They set actionable goals, not just dreams, but specific steps they can take today. When you talk about your day, stop saying, "I hope to do this." Start saying, "I am committed to achieving these 3 objectives today." This shift in language creates a shift in results. Finally, billionaires understand the power of compounding. In finance, compounding is when your interest earns more interest. In life, it means that small, daily improvements lead to massive results over time. They don't look for get-rich-quick schemes. They focus on sustainable growth. By practicing your English for 20 minutes every morning as part of your routine, you are compounding your knowledge. You are becoming a person of higher value every single day. As we conclude this segment, I want you to look at your own morning. Are you being reactive, or are you being proactive? Your challenge today is to identify your one high-leverage task and talk about it in English. In our next segment, Segment 4, we will discuss the psychology of selling, how to use English to persuade others and grow your business. I'm Michael Carter. Own your morning, own your life, and I will see you in the next one. In our last segment, we discussed the morning routines of billionaires and the language of productivity. Today, we are moving into one of the most valuable skills you can ever possess: the art of persuasion. Whether you are selling a product, an idea, or even yourself in a job interview, you are in the business of selling. In English-speaking business cultures, selling is not about tricking people. It is about solving their problems. To be a master of persuasion, you must understand the psychology behind why people say yes. The first rule of selling in English is value proposition. You must be able to clearly articulate how your idea helps the other person. Instead of saying, "My product is good," a master persuader says, "Our solution will streamline your workflow and increase your revenue." Words like efficiency, growth, and scalability are powerful triggers. When you focus on the benefits rather than just the features, you connect with the listener's desires. People don't buy products, they buy better versions of themselves. The second key concept is building rapport. Rapport is a French word we use in English to describe a relationship of trust and understanding. You build rapport by listening more than you talk. In a negotiation, use phrases like, "I understand your concerns," or "Tell me more about your goals." This is called active listening. When the other person feels heard, they are much more likely to trust you. Remember, people do business with people they like and trust. Your English shouldn't be a barrier. It should be the tool that builds that bridge of trust. Finally, you must master the call to action, or the close. Many people have great conversations, but are afraid to ask for what they want. In business English, we call this asking for the sale. Use confident, direct language. Instead of saying, "Maybe we can work together sometime," say, "I am confident that we can achieve great results together. Shall we proceed with the next step?" Being direct is not being rude, it is being professional. It shows that you value the other person's time and that you are serious about your offer. As we finish this segment, remember that selling is a service. If you have a great idea or product, it is your duty to persuade others to use it. Today, practice your elevator pitch, a 30-second summary of who you are and what value you provide. In our next segment, Segment 5, we will talk about investing vs. spending, the financial vocabulary that separates the rich from the poor. I'm Michael Carter. Communicate with purpose, sell with integrity, and I will see you in the next one. In our last segment, we mastered the psychology of selling and persuasion. Today, we are going to talk about what you do with the money you earn. In the world of wealth, there is a massive difference between spending and investing. Most people speak the language of spending. They talk about costs, expenses, and buying. But the wealthy speak the language of assets, or RI, and capital. To change your bank account, you must first change your financial vocabulary. The first concept you need to understand is an asset versus a liability. In simple English, an asset is something that puts money into your pocket. A liability is something that takes money out of your pocket. For example, a car you use for fun is a liability because of its depreciation, the loss of value. But a property that you rent out is an asset because it generates passive income. When you are practicing your English, start using these terms. Instead of saying, "I want to buy a new phone," ask yourself, is this an asset or a liability? The second term is RI, or return on investment. Every time you spend money or time, you should ask, what is the ROI? Successful people don't look at the price of something, they look at the value it provides. For example, spending money on an English course is not an expense. It is an investment, because it increases your human capital. It makes you more valuable in the job market, which leads to a higher salary. This is called long-term thinking. Spending gives you instant pleasure, but investing gives you long-term freedom. Finally, let's talk about financial independence. This is the stage where your assets generate enough income to cover all your expenses. You are no longer working for money, your money is working for you. To reach this, you must practice delayed gratification. This means saying no to small things today so you can say yes to big things tomorrow. In your English conversations, start talking about your financial goals and investment strategies. Using these words will attract other successful people into your life. As we finish this segment, I want you to look at your spending habits. What is one liability you can cut? And what is one asset you can start building? Remember, your greatest asset is your mind. By finishing this segment, you have already invested in yourself. In our next segment, Segment 6, we will talk about the power of networking, how to build a high-value circle of people using English. I'm Michael Carter. Invest in your mind, grow your wealth, and I will see you in the next one. In our last segment, we discussed the financial difference between assets and liabilities. Today, we are focusing on your most valuable social asset, your network. There is a famous saying, "Your network is your net worth." This means the quality of people you know will determine the quality of your life and your bank account. In the global world, English is the bridge that connects you to high-value individuals, mentors, investors, and partners. If you want to grow, you must learn how to network effectively in English. The first step in professional networking is building strategic relationships. Networking is not just about meeting people, it's about providing value first. Instead of asking, "What can you do for me?" a master networker asks, "How can I contribute to your vision?" In English, we call this value-added networking. When you approach a successful person, use phrases like, "I've been following your work, and I really admire your approach to innovation." This shows that you are not just a stranger. You are a peer who speaks the language of success. The second key skill is elevator pitching. Imagine you are in an elevator with a billionaire and you have 30 seconds to introduce yourself. Can you do it in English? You need a clear, concise summary of who you are and what you do. Instead of saying, "I am looking for a job," say, "I specialize in digital solutions that help companies scale their operations." Notice the words specialize and scale. These are high-value words that grab attention instantly. A good pitch doesn't just describe you, it describes the impact you create. Finally, you must master the follow-up. Most people meet someone once and never speak to them again. But the fortune is in the follow-up. Sending a professional email or a LinkedIn message after a meeting is crucial. Use phrases like, "It was a pleasure connecting with you," and "I would love to stay in touch and explore potential synergies." The word synergy is very powerful in business. It means working together to create something greater than the sum of its parts. As we finish this segment, remember that you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. If you want to be a millionaire, you must network with people who think like millionaires. Your English is your ticket into those rooms. Today, I want you to write a practice, follow-up message in English to someone you admire. In our next segment, Segment 7, we will talk about the art of negotiation. How to get what you want in business and life. I'm Michael Carter. Build your circle, build your future, and I will see you in the next one. In our last segment, we talked about building a high-value network. But once you are in the room with important people, how do you get them to agree to your terms? Today, we are discussing negotiation. In the world of business, you don't get what you deserve, you get what you negotiate. Negotiation is not a battle, it is a strategic conversation to find a solution that works for both sides. To be a master negotiator, you must use English that is firm, professional, and persuasive. The first rule of negotiation is, know your worth. Before you enter any discussion, you must have a clear bottom line, the lowest offer you are willing to accept. In English, we call this your walk-away point. If the deal doesn't meet your standards, you must be prepared to walk away. Use phrases like, I appreciate the offer, but it doesn't align with my expectations. Or, I am looking for a more competitive proposal. This shows that you are not desperate. Confidence is the most powerful tool in any negotiation. The second secret is focusing on a win-win outcome. A bad negotiator wants to win, while the other person loses. But a master negotiator looks for mutual benefit. Instead of fighting over a price, try to expand the value. Use words like collaboration, flexibility, and trade-offs. For example, you could say, if we can adjust the timeline, I can commit to a higher volume of work. By offering something in return for what you want, you make it easy for the other person to say yes. Another vital skill is managing silence. Many people talk too much when they are nervous. In a negotiation, silence is power. After you make your offer, stop talking. Let the other person respond. In English, we call this holding your ground. If they say the price is too high, don't immediately lower it. Ask an open-ended question like, what part of the proposal do you find challenging? This forces them to explain their position, giving you more information to work with. As we conclude this segment, remember that negotiation is a skill that improves with practice. Whether you are asking for a higher salary or a better deal from a supplier, your English is your most important weapon. Today, practice saying no politely but firmly in English. In our next segment, Segment 8, we will talk about global trends and future wealth, the vocabulary of AI tech, and where the big money is moving. I'm Michael Carter. Stand your ground, negotiate your value, and I will see you in the next one. In our last segment, we mastered the art of negotiation. Today, we are looking into the future. To build a millionaire mindset, you must be able to see where the world is going before everyone else does. We are currently living in a period of massive technological disruption. This means new technologies are completely changing how we live and work. From artificial intelligence to renewable energy, the opportunities for wealth are shifting. If you want to stay relevant, you must learn the English vocabulary of the future. The biggest word in the world right now is artificial intelligence, or AI. But don't just think of AI as robots. Think of it as automation. Successful people are using AI to automate boring tasks so they can focus on high-level strategy. In your conversations, start using terms like algorithm, machine learning, and data-driven decisions. Instead of saying, I have a gut feeling, say, based on the data trends, we should pivot our strategy. This shows that you understand the modern digital economy. Another major trend is the gig economy and remote work. The world is no longer tied to an office. Through English, You can live in one country and work for a company in another. This is called being a digital nomad. The wealth is moving toward those who have niche skills, specialized knowledge that is in high demand. Use phrases like, I am upskilling in blockchain technology. Or, there is a massive market gap in sustainable tech. Identifying a gap in the market is the first step to creating a successful business. Finally, let's talk about sustainability. The future of wealth is green. Companies are investing billions into renewable energy and eco-friendly solutions. In English business circles, we talk about ESG, see environmental, social, and governance goals. If you can speak about how a business can be both profitable and sustainable, you will be a very high-value communicator. The world's biggest investors are no longer just looking for profit. They are looking for long-term viability. As we conclude this segment, I want you to ask yourself, is my current skill set future-proof? To be future-proof means to have skills that will still be valuable even as technology changes. English is the ultimate future-proof skill. Today, research one new technology in English and try to explain it to a friend. In our next segment, Segment 9, we will talk about the habit of reading, how the world's richest people consume information, and the language of critical thinking. I'm Michael Carter. Watch the trends, catch the wave, and I will see you in the next one. In our last segment, we explored global trends and the technology of the future. Today, we go back to the most fundamental habit of the world's most successful people, reading. Warren Buffett spends 80% of his day reading. Bill Gates reads 50 books a year. Why? Because they know that knowledge is the new currency. In English, we say that reading gives you a competitive advantage. It allows you to learn from the mistakes and successes of others without having to experience them yourself. If you want to grow your wealth, you must grow your mind. The first skill you must develop is critical thinking. Reading isn't just about absorbing information. It's about analyzing it. When you read a business book in English, don't just memorize facts. Ask yourself, how can I apply this to my life? And, is this information relevant to my goals? Use words like perspective and analysis. Instead of saying, I read a good book, say, this book provided a unique perspective on leadership. This shows you are an active learner who thinks deeply about information. The second concept is information filtering. In today's world, we are surrounded by too much information, what we call information overload. Successful people are very selective about what they read. They focus on high-quality content, books on finance, psychology, history, and biographies of great leaders. They don't waste time on junk information. In English, we have a phrase, you are what you eat. The same is true for your mind. You are what you read. By reading in English, you are doing two things at once: gaining knowledge and improving your cognitive abilities. Finally, let's talk about implementation. Knowledge is not power. Applied knowledge is power. Many people read but never change their actions. In the professional world, we talk about the learning curve, the rate at which you acquire and use new skills. To shorten your learning curve, you must take notes and create an action plan based on what you read. Use phrases like, based on my research, I've decided to, or I am implementing a new strategy I learned from. This shows that you are a man or woman of action, not just a dreamer. As we finish this segment, I want to challenge you. Pick one book in English. It could be a thin one, and read just 5 pages a day. It's not about speed, it's about consistency. In our next segment, Segment 10, we will reach a milestone. We will talk about public speaking and storytelling. How to share your knowledge with the world and captivate any audience. I'm Michael Carter. Read more to lead more, and I will see you in the next one. Congratulations on reaching Segment 10. Today, we are moving from being a learner to being a messenger. You have knowledge, you have a network, and you have a mindset. Now, you need to share it. In the world of millionaires, communication is currency. If you cannot speak in public or tell a compelling story, your ideas will die with you. But if you can captivate an audience in English, you can change the world. Public speaking is not about having a perfect accent. It's about having presence and impact. The first secret of a great speaker is the hook. You have less than 7 seconds to grab your audience's attention. Instead of starting with, "Hello, my name is N," start with a shocking fact, a question, or a powerful story. In English, we call this opening with a bang. For example, did you know that 90% of millionaires share one common habit? Now, the audience is listening. Use words like compelling, enthralling, and provocative. A good hook makes your audience curious to hear more. The second key is storytelling. Facts tell, but stories sell. If you want people to remember your message, wrap it in a story. Every great story has a conflict and a resolution. When you talk about your journey, don't just talk about your success. Talk about your struggle, the moments you wanted to quit. In English, this makes you relatable. People don't want a perfect hero. They want a human being who overcame obstacles. Use descriptive language to paint a picture in their minds. Instead of saying, "I was sad," say, "I felt the weight of the world on my shoulders." The final element is body language and tonality. Only 7% of communication is the words you use. The rest is your voice and your movement. In public speaking, we talk about vocal variety. This means changing your speed, volume, and pitch to keep the audience engaged. If you are sharing a secret, whisper. If you are making a point, speak with authority. Stand tall, make eye contact, and use your hands to emphasize your points. In English, we call this commanding the room. When you look and sound like a leader, people believe you are one. As we finish this segment, I want you to remember, public speaking is a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. Your challenge today is to record a 1-minute video of yourself telling a short story in English. Don't worry about being perfect, just focus on being authentic. In our next segment, segment 11, we will talk about the art of delegation. How to stop doing everything yourself and start building a team. I'm Michael Carter. Speak your truth, captivate the world, and I will see you in the next one. In our last segment, we mastered the art of public speaking. But as you grow and your influence expands, you will realize one thing: you only have 24 hours in a day. To build true wealth, you must stop being a doer and start being a leader. This is where delegation comes in. In English, to delegate means to entrust a task or responsibility to another person. If you want to scale your business, you cannot be the bottleneck. You must learn to leverage other people's time and talents. The first rule of delegation is identifying your zone of genius. These are the few tasks that only you can do best. Everything else should be outsourced. In business English, we use the term outsourcing when we hire someone outside our company, or direct reports when we manage a team. Instead of saying, "I do everything," a successful person says, "I oversee the operations while my team handles the execution." Use words like efficiency, specialization, and workflow. By letting go of small tasks, you create space for high-level thinking. The second key is clear communication. Most people fail at delegation because they give vague instructions. In English, you must provide a clear scope of work and a deadline. Instead of saying, "Do this quickly," say, "I need this report finalized by 5 p.m. Friday with a focus on our quarterly growth." This precision prevents micromanagement, the bad habit of controlling every small detail. A great leader gives the what and the why, but lets the team decide the how. This builds accountability and trust within your organization. Finally, you must understand the concept of scalability. A business is scalable when it can grow without you working more hours. This only happens through systems and SOPs, a standard operating procedures. In English, an SOP is a set of step-by-step instructions to help employees carry out complex routine operations. When you have systems, you are no longer working in your business. You are working on your business. This is the secret to freedom. You want to build a machine that makes money while you sleep. As we finish this segment, I want you to look at your daily tasks. What is one thing you can stop doing and give to someone else? Remember, your time is your most expensive asset. Don't spend a 1,000 hours an hour doing a 10 task. Today, practice explaining a simple task in English as if you were delegating it to an assistant. In our next segment, segment 12, we will talk about emotional intelligence, EQ. How to manage your emotions and lead others with empathy. I'm Michael Carter. Build your team, reclaim your time, and I will see you in the next one. In our last segment, we talked about delegation and building a team. But once you have a team, how do you keep them motivated? How do you handle pressure? Today, we are discussing emotional intelligence, or EQ. In the modern world, your IQ's intelligence quotient might get you a job, but your EQ will get you promoted to the top. EQ is the ability to recognize, understand, and manage your own emotions while also influencing the emotions of others. To be a millionaire leader, you must have emotional mastery. The first pillar of EQ is self-awareness. This means knowing your strengths, weaknesses, and your triggers, the things that make you angry or stressed. In English, we call this staying composed. Instead of reacting instantly to a problem, a high EQ person pauses and thinks. They don't say, "I'm so angry." They say, "I am feeling frustrated because this project is off track." Notice the difference. By naming the emotion and identifying the cause, you stay in control. Use words like reflective, mindful, and objective. The second pillar is empathy. Empathy is the ability to see the world through someone else's eyes. In business, this is a superpower. When you understand your client's fears or your employee's struggles, you can build deeper trust. In English, we use phrases like, "I hear what you're saying," or "I can see why that would be concerning." This is not being weak. It is being strategic. When people feel understood, they become loyal. Empathy is the ultimate tool for conflict resolution. The third part of EQ is social skills and influence. A leader with high EQ knows how to deliver bad news without destroying morale and how to give praise that truly inspires. They use constructive feedback. Instead of saying, "Your work is bad," they say, "I see a lot of potential here. But we need to refine these specific areas to meet our standards." This language encourages growth instead of creating resentment. In the global marketplace, being diplomatic and articulate is what separates the winners from the rest. As we finish this segment, remember that your emotions are like a wild horse. If you don't control them, they will take you where you don't want to go. But if you master them, they will carry you to success. Today, try to observe your emotions without judging them. In our next segment, segment 13, we will talk about the art of resilience. How to bounce back from failure like a champion. I'm Michael Carter. Master your emotions, lead with heart, and I will see you in the next one. In our last segment, we discussed emotional intelligence. But what happens when things go wrong? What happens when you lose money, lose a client, or fail a big project? This is where resilience comes in. Resilience is the mental toughness to bounce back after a setback. In the vocabulary of millionaires, there is no such thing as failure. There is only feedback. If you want to achieve great things, you must develop a thick skin and a mindset that refuses to quit. The first concept you must learn is the growth mindset. A person with a fixed mindset believes their abilities are limited. When they fail, they say, "I'm not good enough." But a person with a growth mindset says, "I haven't mastered this yet." In English, that word, yet, is incredibly powerful. It changes a dead end into a path. Instead of saying, "This is impossible," say, "This is a steep learning curve, but I am adapting." Use words like persistence, grit, and fortitude. These are the words that define champions. The second key is pivoting. In the business world, a pivot is when you realize your current plan isn't working, so you change direction quickly. Resilience doesn't mean doing the same wrong thing over and over again. It means being agile. When a door closes, look for a window. In English, we use phrases like, "We need to reassess our strategy," or "Let's recalibrate our approach based on these results." A resilient leader is never a victim of circumstances. They are the architect of their response. Finally, you must practice. Emotional recovery time. How long does it take you to get back to work after a disappointment? Minutes? Days? Months? The most successful people in the world have a very short recovery time. They allow themselves to feel the pain, but they don't live in it. They use a technique called reframing. They take a negative event and reframe it as a blessing in disguise. They say, "Losing that job was the catalyst. I needed to start my own business." When you change the story you tell yourself in English, you change your reality. As we finish this segment, I want you to think about a recent failure in your life. Don't call it a failure anymore. Call it a lesson. Write down in English what that lesson taught you. In our next segment, segment 14, we will talk about the ethics of wealth. How to stay humble, give back, and maintain your integrity as you become successful. I'm Michael Carter. Fall 7 times, stand up 8, and I will see you in the next one. In our last segment, we discussed resilience and the power of bouncing back. But as you climb the ladder of success, there is something even more important than your bank balance: your integrity. In English, integrity means being honest and having strong moral principles. There is no point in becoming a millionaire if you lose your soul in the process. Today, we will learn the vocabulary of ethics and why a wealthy character is the foundation of long-term success. The first concept is ethical leadership. This means doing the right thing even when no one is watching. In business, your reputation is your most valuable currency. Once you lose someone's trust, it is almost impossible to get it back. Use words like transparency, accountability, and trustworthiness. Instead of saying, "I want to make money," an ethical leader says, "I want to create sustainable value for my clients and my community." This mindset builds a brand that lasts for generations, not just for a season. The second key is philanthropy and giving back. The world's richest people, like Warren Buffett or Bill Gates, understand that money is a tool for impact. In English, we call this social responsibility. True wealth is not about how much you collect, but how much you contribute. When you talk about your goals, include phrases like, "I want to empower others," or "My vision is to give back to the education sector." Sharing your success doesn't make you poorer. It creates a legacy, something that lives on after you are gone. Finally, we must talk about humility. Success can often lead to arrogance, excessive pride, but a true leader remains grounded. They remember their roots and respect everyone, regardless of their status. In English, we have a saying, Stay hungry. Stay humble. Practice expressing gratitude. Instead of saying, "I did this all by myself," say, "I am grateful for the support of my team and the opportunities I've been given." Humility is not thinking less of yourself, it is thinking of yourself less. As we finish this segment, I want you to define your core values. What do you stand for? Write down 3 words in English that describe the kind of leader you want to be. In our final segment, segment 15, we will wrap up this entire series with the ultimate success blueprint. How to combine everything we've learned into one life. Changing plan. I'm Michael Carter. Build your wealth on a foundation of integrity, and I will see you in the next one. Congratulations! You have completed all 15 segments of our journey. We have traveled from understanding the millionaire mindset to mastering public speaking, negotiation, financial fluency, and integrity. Today, we combine all these pieces into one master plan. The ultimate success blueprint. Success is not an accident. It is a result of intentional habits and clear communication. If you want to change your life, you must stop being a spectator and start being the architect of your own future. The first step of the blueprint is clarity of vision. You cannot hit a target you cannot see. In English, we call this having a North Star. What is your ultimate goal? Is it financial freedom? Is it global influence? Or is it creating a social impact? You must be able to articulate this vision clearly in English. Instead of saying, "I want to be rich," say, "I am building a scalable business that provides transformative value to millions of people." When your vision is clear, your decisions become easy. The second step is continuous upskilling. The world is moving faster than ever. To stay ahead, you must be a lifelong learner. Whether it is mastering the latest AI tools or refining your leadership English, your growth must never stop. Remember the concept of compounding knowledge we discussed earlier. Every book you read, every new word you learn, and every person you network with is a brick in your empire. In English business terms, this is called maintaining a competitive edge. If you aren't growing, you are shrinking. The final step is massive action. Knowledge without execution is just a hallucination. The ultimate blueprint requires you to step out of your comfort zone every single day. Practice your elevator pitch, manage your morning routine, and never be afraid to negotiate for what you deserve. Use words like momentum, consistency, and execution. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Take the moment and make it perfect. Your English is no longer just a subject you study. It is now a part of who you are. A global leader with a powerful voice. As we conclude this series, I want to thank you for your commitment. You have invested your time in yourself, and that is the best investment you can ever make. The road ahead will have challenges, but you now have the tools, the vocabulary, and the mindset to overcome anything. I am Michael Carter. This is not the end. It is only the beginning of your greatness. Go out there, speak with power, lead with heart, and build your legacy. I will see you at the top.